The research that I look at, the theory I work with has 5 components to it. For me, the first one is when we look at people who are resilient, the first thing that we see is a deep sense of belonging, right? You have to belong to something. You have to belong to, whether it be your family system or your ethnic group, your cultural background, you need to have some type of thing that you know is yours and it's authentic and true to you. The second thing we talk a lot about is the notion of perspective or mindset, right? So people have to, it's the way that they interact with the world or they see the world is going to have a big impact on it. So one of the things that we see a lot is that right now there's kind of this, we're living in this kind of ecosystem where we lean away from challenge or we lean away from hard, right? Because we're really almost conditioned to go for things that are, high impact reward with the least amount of effort. Like that's something that we actually, we see that's being fostered in our communities. Whereas what we know is that you actually have to be challenged, right? If it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. And we actually need to go through hard times. We need to develop a perspective. The third one we talk about is the notion of acceptance with resiliency, which means that I'm willing to be the author of my own story in the sense that this isn't something that's happening to me. It's something that these are the happenstances. However, this is how I'm going to take this on. This is how I'm going to navigate and how I'm going to work through it. And again, we kind of roll that out with the notion of optimism and positivity or hope-filledness. And we talk a lot about the fact that there's not a lot of hope-filledness when we look around. There's a lot of negativity. And as a species, we're actually hardwired to look for negatives. When you walk into a room, the first thing we ought to see are things that could be threatening or unsettling. Well, when there's so much of that, we become overwhelmed. It's almost what we call sensorial overload with all the negativity, and that we have to develop this mental toughness to train ourselves to think on the bright side, to lean towards positivity, because it's not something that we innately do. And the last one is the notion of humor and fun, right? We take ourselves extremely seriously, and everybody's doing important work, absolutely, but it's to the expense that we feel as though we can't take a deep breath. We can't push away and just say, you know what, I need a moment to collect my thoughts. Or, there's an event for your children or your family or your elder care that you need to attend to because everything feels so serious and so important. And part of what I see in my work on resiliency is that people who strive for balance and moderation do appreciably better than people that sit in those extremes.